Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, in this video we compare a wide-angle shot with panorama techniques. Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, my name is Serge Ramelli, I'm a French photographer living in the amazing, the beautiful, the incroyable city of Paris, France. And I have the honor of making 2 tutorials per week. Click here if you want to get the raw file for this episode and all the past episodes. We are talking hundreds of raw files, actions, preset for free. All you have to do is subscribe to my newsletter and allow me to spam you with amazing newsletters with special discounts, bundles, and free goodies. Or click here to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In last episode, I showed you a new cool brush trick that just came out with Adobe Camera Raw. It's really cool and it enables you to do things we couldn't do before. I hope it's going to come in Lightroom. This week, I want to talk to you about composition, and I want to talk to you about comparing a wide-angle technique with shooting panorama. You will see what I mean in a second. Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, and welcome to this little tutorial for your landscape and urban landscape lovers out there. Recently, I've been working with a gallery called Yellow Corner. It's actually a big network of galleries. They've got 90 galleries in the world, and they're starting selling my photos, and I'm making a book on Paris with them. And in that book, I'm making a lot of panoramas like this one. And I wanted to share some of compositing trick with you when you're faced with a city like Paris or anything which is really big, and you wanna communicate to the world the majesty, the grandness of the subject. And I'm going to give you a very simple example. This is a photo I did for Yellow Corner. It's actually for the gallery and for the book. And I want to show you how I did this photo. First, I went out there. This is a bridge that I love because this bridge has this nice trees there in the spring. And the bridge itself is very nice and leads down to the Louvre, a beautiful area of Paris. And so first, I came out with my Canon 5D Mark II and shot with a 17 millimeter. Check this out. I was at 100 of a second at f5.6, either 100. I was lazy because I was shooting by hand. That's why I was carefully at 5.6. Should have probably been a bit more to get everything sharp. But I tried to wide angle the photo in one photo, right? So I went at 17 millimeter. And it's an okay photo, but I felt everything was like the tree was really big. The Louvre was kind of small. It was kind of squashy. This is the raw without being retouched. And then I had this idea. At this time, I had this very cheap lens, the 50 millimeter 1.8. It's one of the cheapest Nikon and Canon lens. I think it's about $100. And I put that lens on, but what I love is that it opens at 1.8. So I put that lens on, and so this is a 50 millimeter. So I'm a lot more zoomed in. And I went into a portrait mode, still 100 at second. The settings are exactly the same. And I took this first photo. Then I just moved around the second photo, the third photo, this fourth photo, all by hand. You know, I was just making sure I was overlapping by like 20% about, okay? And this photo. And then what I did is I took the photo, for example, here in the middle, and I started retouching it. Or you could even take this one and retouch it. So let's do that. I'm going to open up the shadows, bring down the highlights, okay? Bring down the blacks, bring up the whites. Not so much. I want to pretty dense sky. I think the whole photo is a bit too bright. Anyway, at the end, this is going to become a dramatic black and white. So that's some of the basic retouching. Maybe, you know, actually go minus on the clarity. Something to give a more natural result. And of course, I'm going to do the Anabolic profiles correction. And remove chromatic aberration. And that's it. No, that's not it. I think I'm going to do some sharpening on the photo. And the thing is, when I do panos, I do as much as I can in Lightroom or in Camera Raw before I merge the photo. The reason is, to make it simple, let's say that the raw file has some hidden information that will be lost as soon as you come and start merging photos or as soon as you go into Photoshop. So to avoid losing that, I do all that I can in Lightroom or Camera Raw before merging or HDRing or just before going out of the program. Okay, so that's why I'm going to do a basic sharpening. This is 100 ISO, there's hardly any noise, so I'm anyway going to go like to 10 and then I'm going to put my sharpening at 90. Okay, you know my good old rule where I take 100, the number 100, I deduct whatever I put in noise reduction, that's what I put there. Now there is too much sharpening happening on the sky, so I'm going to press the Alt key, move the masking until the sharpening is only happening on what is white, and what's black is not getting it sharpened. Amazing, isn't it? Okay, so that's the basic retouching for this photo. Very sort of natural, basic retouching, nothing special to it. Okay, then I'm going to select all these photos. So this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, by holding down the Command key or Control key in Windows. They're all selected, but I'm still on this one. I'm going to click on Sync, check all. Since I did this with the exact same setting, if I click on Synchronize, basically look at this. It's gonna retouch each of the photo with the exact same thing that I did on this, right? Now, one thing also to mention is that remember that this photo were only shot at 5.6. However, when you take a wide angle photo at 5.6, it's hard to get everything in focus. But when you take small pieces like this, every single photo is completely in focus. So when I'm going to merge everything at the end of the day, I will have a very sharp photo even though I was only at 5.6. So that's one advantage. The disadvantage is that it takes more time, you got more files, but you will see the end result compared to this one. Okay, so now that I'm unselecting this by pressing a Command key, I have only my panel ready to be retouched. I've done the basic retouching. I'm going to right click, Edit, and merge to Panorama in Photoshop. Now that is going to launch Photoshop CC 2014, and it's going to make a panel. There is one thing that I want to mention is that some people tell me when they try to make panels with Photoshop, they have, you know, on each photo here, they have a little bit of a black, you know, it's like if there is a vignetting which is there, and it makes a weird panel at the end because you got like black lines, you know, on the sky, like sort of black lines there. Well, first you have to know that I think it is when Photoshop CS5 came out, or CS6, they did something to the merging engine, which changed a lot. I remember having lots of trouble with making panels in CS4 that disappeared. I forgot it was CS5 or CS6. So make sure you have a pretty recent version of Photoshop, and make sure before you go into Photoshop that we did the lens corrections, that any vignetting has been taken out, okay? Once you're in Photoshop, I just use auto, blend image together. I do not use vignette removal or geometric distortion correction because I did this already in Lightroom and I find that it gives weird results. So I always go with Pano and this. So it's going to take a while because there's a lot of photos. And yeah, if you really overlap each photo, if you're really in manual mode, meaning that each photo has the exact same speed and the exact aperture, you can do this. If you're in AV mode, you're going to be in trouble because in AV mode, each photo is going to have its own speed, which are going to be different from one photo to another. So you cannot do this trick of what I told you of like correcting one photo and syncing on everything. It's just going to make it harder. So if you just think manual when you're in panel, what you can do is if you don't know how to use manual mode, you just, you know, go into AV mode and take, half press the button like if you were going to take a photo of the middle of the scene, look at the values it's going to do. Like let's say you were at 7.1 because AV mode you direct whatever aperture you want. So you're at 7.1, it says, okay, you're 100th of a second. Well, then you go into manual mode and you dial in 7.1 100th of a second and you take all the photos. And you can use this very cheap lens, that 50 millimeter lens that you have in Canon and Nikon. Everybody has this lens. They are amazing quality. The ones that open at 1.8. And okay, so check it out. That's what Photoshop did. Now there is some kind of weird lines here, but when I press Command E and I merge everything, the lines disappear. Okay, we still have some work to do on this, so I'm going to duplicate the layer, and I'm going to go into Filter, Adaptive Wide Angle. Now that's a great filter that came out in Photoshop. I forgot which version, but it's a really cool option. All I'm going to do on this is I'm going to click here. That's gonna, and I'm not gonna I'm just gonna click once, and it's gonna make me a little line, a blue line. I'm gonna make this follow the building and just press Shift. When I press Shift, it's becoming pink, and if I click again, it's gonna make that wall straight. Okay. I'm gonna do the same thing here. One line. I want to make that tree straight, right? So, boom. Okay. No, well, maybe that was too much. So that means that this was not really crooked. Okay, so let's try with this tree there. Let's see if we can make this sort of straight. Yeah, that makes more sense. One thing you can do is add one more line to follow the bridge. Just a little line here. It's gonna, help the middle. And now we have a pretty cool panel. So I'm going to click on OK. And I love this adaptive wide angle. It really helps, you know, making the panel really well. And at the end of the day, when you shoot, you see, I find that when you shoot around 50 or 60 to make panels, you get a much more natural result at the end than when you are like at 20 or 14. You can make panels with wide angles, but they're going to look weird. They're going to be like very, very distorted. So if you want to go for like an eye type of look, you know, I want this panel to be a huge print, like, you know, 3 meters long for a big wall in a nice bank, making, you know, selling it for a high price. That's what I'm going for. So I want a long photo and a very nice one. Okay, so that's that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one off the bottom, and now I'm going to take my crop tool and I'm going to crop the photo as much that I can here. All right. And I don't think I'm going to take that tree there, or maybe I am. I don't know. Let's see if I took it in the original photo. Do I have the tree in the original? Yeah, I do. I have the tree just close to it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to crop it, and then we of course have some more work to do on it because, well, we are missing some materials, you know, and probably if I had used what they called a nodal, you know, a tripod on purpose made for panels, I won't have this trouble here. This is because I did this by hand because I'm very lazy. Okay, but check this out. Image size, at the end of the day, we have a 12,000 pixels large. That's like the equivalent of a 50 or 60 million pixel photo. So it's really cool. I mean, the galleries love that because they can make huge print with lots of details. Okay, so we got a few problems to correct here. So usually what I do is I'm basically gonna zoom. Oh no, sorry, I should have done that. I'm gonna go to layers, flatten image, with this one being invisible. Yeah, disregard hidden layers. So I only have this. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate, Command J to duplicate this one. And then one little trick, you can zoom out, press Command T, and then I'm gonna use a command key to move this, maybe move this a little bit. And I'm just trying to correct some of the perspective by hand. I want to get some of that tree up there. Okay, maybe something like this. Okay, so yeah, you can just use a command, and with a command key, you can just move the corners. I have a very fast computer, so it's going very fast. And now there is a lot of trick for this. We're going to use the first trick, but on this one, when I tried, it didn't work so well. You take the magic wand tool, you make sure contiguous is off, and you click on this. It's going to make a selection of this. Oh no, it's making too much selection. So forget contiguous. That's because this is white now. So it's selecting anything which is white. So I'm going to press Command D. I'm going to press contiguous on and just click here. It's only selecting this corner. Okay, and I'm going to deal with that first. And I'm going to go to select, modify, expand. I want to expand this at least of 50 pixels. So I'm making a much bigger selection, and then I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to go to fill and content aware. See what's going to happen. Now, yeah, you see it did something weird. Now I'll show you another way. I could do a little mask. Well, I'll show you two ways to do this. Okay, Command Z to undo. When you have this kind of trouble, Command D to undo, you can just create a mask. Okay, take a black brush, big black brush. Make sure your hardness is 100%, so your brush is black, is very black with no smoothness. And make sure you're like 100%, and I'm just gonna mask out everything in this photo. Oh, by turning this off. I'm just turning off anything but the water. Okay, because what I want to be copied in this little part is not the bridge, is only water. Okay, so I'm making everything invisible with a mask. All right, now I'm going back on this photo. I'm going to select again this. Okay, go back to select, modify, expand 50 pixel, and again edit, fill, content aware. And now I'm forcing the software to only use this texture to fit in there, and not the bridge, not anything else. Now check it out. It does a much better job. there's still some stuff which is wrong there. So then I'm gonna throw the mask away because I don't need it anymore. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna throw the mask away. All right. So I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna delete layer mask. That's the way to do it. All right. And then I'm gonna take the S for stem tool and I'm just gonna copy some of that there. You know, you just have to fine tune. You just like select a little bit above and you just follow this. And you know, I mean, water is a very random texture, so it's kind of like easy to just, you know, I could have done the whole thing with a stem tool, but I usually have another technique that I'll show you in another tutorial for this. But there's so many ways in Photoshop to do so many things, you know. At the end of the day, I just want to have a sort of a natural result here. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. Okay, before, after, before, after. Okay, probably would spend a bit more time, but you get the idea. Okay, next we had a problem because I had a guy moving and walking on the bridge. So now you see, he's like, something weird happened there. So S for stem tool, I'm just gonna copy that or copy this corner, put this corner over and just erase him from eternity. Erase him from my photo and voila. Okay, and then on here, let's try again the quick select tool or quick select tool, whatever. And let's go to select, modify, expand, 50 pixel. Well, 50, yeah, all right. 50 is a bit too much on this one. I think I'm gonna go select, modify, expand. I'm just gonna go 5 pixel. And then edit, fill, content aware. Let's see what it does. No, it doesn't do well. So let's finish this off with the stem tool also. I'm just gonna copy that and make the tree a bit bigger. All right, so I'm gonna take this leaf and copy there, and there I'm gonna take this and make the tree a bit bigger. And you know, it's very easy with very random. Nobody's gonna notice anything, you know. And I could take this branch and maybe copy this there, or you know, I think on this one I took the P, I pressed P for the pen tool, and I made a little selection here. For example, you can make just a selection of that branch here, a very big selection. Right click, make selection, and I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna feather it of 10 pixel, and then I'm gonna press Command J. So that's gonna put on its own layer just that little branch. V for move tool, and I'm gonna move it over there, and then Command T to. I'm gonna shift it. I'm just gonna make it there, something like that, so that it looks sort of natural. And then I can always blend. Yeah, then I use the eraser tool. I'm gonna use the eraser tool to just erase whatever on this that's after that. Anyway, you get the idea. Okay, I can, but with leaf it's very easy. I'm gonna press Command E to merge, S for the stem tool again, and you can just, you know, take some leaf there, for example, and just copy them there. Just make sure sometimes the harness, don't put the harness at 100%, but put it like at 50% before you do that. It helps to copy this type of texture. Okay, and I believe nobody in the world is gonna notice that there was something missing there because it's so random, you know. Anyways, that's the concept. I just would make sure at 100%. So that's the final result. Okay, now you see it's just much bigger. It's much longer than this version that I had here. Okay, and this one is much more squeezed, and you know, also we have a lot more pixels. So when I'm gonna make a big print, it's gonna look awesome because it's gonna be so much more information. There's actually 4 times more information on this one than on this one, and I just find that this is too much squeeze. You know, it's like the wide angle effect. You know, the tree is very big, the loop is small, the bridge is small here, the bridge is bigger, the loop is less distorted. It's just more pleasing. So the more, you know, the trick here is when you're faced with something big, go 50mm and take many shots and try to make a pano out of it. You will be pleased with the result. So once I had finished the pano, what I did is I jumped over and I used a plugin called Intensify Pro to get this result. It's really the plugin that I've used the most over the last weeks to make this book on Paris and to make all my gallery fine art. You will, if you go to photoserge.com and you go to news to MacFun, you can get access to this plugin with a 10% discount using the code PhotoSerge. It's really an awesome plugin, and encourage you to test it. You can also buy the Creative Plus, which you buy all their plugins. And it's the guys from Nig Software that created that company called MacFun. And what they're doing is really, I think, the top of the top for what photographers need today. Voila. Thank you very much. And before I leave you, I want to show you a little trailer that I did on my long exposure course for the ones that didn't see it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in another episode. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. My name is Serge. I'm a French photographer living in the beautiful city of Paris, as you can see. And today I'm here to talk to you about one of my most exciting courses, the Photography Long Exposure course. Long exposure is an amazing technique where you can get silky water, stretchy skies, you can get surreal photography, you can see some of the final results you're gonna learn. In all, there is 8 different projects, most of them being shot in Paris, and I will show you live how I shot the photos, you know, what time of the day, how I put the filters on, the settings of the camera. I tell you everything. I give you all the raw files. It's one of my coolest course I ever done. I'm really proud of it. And I hope you're going to check it out. The Long Exposure Photography course by me. Mesdames et messieurs, au revoir.